I'm Shivani Gupta. I'm obsessed with small to medium businesses growing. As business owners, we take so much risk and we want to make sure it's worth it. I believe one of the best presents you can give yourself as a business owner is to be able to learn how to scale your people, your profit, and your processes. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Grow Your Business podcast. I'm Shivani Gupta, and I'm your host. And today I'm going to talk about something that's been talked about for good 2 decades, maybe even close to 3 decades, which is work-life balance. But I want to specifically talk about work-life balance and how important it is to be able to have that around your people that work in your teams, and what it is that we can do as leaders and founders in our businesses to be able to help achieve that better in the workplace. So I want to share some strategies with you that I've shared with other clients, and I'm hoping that one or two of them perhaps resonate with you. Some of these you might already be doing really well, and that you are able to then put them into your workplace. So the first one is really flexible work. Flexible work has been really important in terms of being able to retain really great employees. But since the pandemic, and it's become even more important and more crucial so that we are able to make sure that people are able to work, whether it's remotely, have that flexibility to be able to be more output focused, and really having that flexibility for our people helps them reduce a lot of stress. It helps them manage a variety of other things outside of their work, and that really goes a long way in terms of promoting work-life balance for our people. The second is, and sometimes it might not come across as something that you would do around work-life balance, but is actually being really clear with your communication. One of the things that causes a lot of stress for our people is when communication is not clear, when the expectations of what we want them to do and by when we want them to do, perhaps who we want them to collaborate with and to be able to achieve that is not communicated very clearly. And when it's not, there's a lot of misunderstandings that rise. There's a lot of unnecessary stress that rises. Sometimes that leads to gossip and all sorts of ripple effects, which are often not very positive. So having been really clear in your communication as a leader and founder is really important to be able to enhance our employees' well-being. The next thing I want to talk, which I guess extends a bit further from clear communication, is boundaries. Well, how does boundaries, do that? Well, as more and more people are working remotely, people are often complaining about our people in terms of the fact they don't have clear boundaries. Let's say, for example, they're working from the kitchen bench. And from the kitchen bench, it's pretty difficult to know when does that kitchen bench stop being an office desk and when does it convert into a play space for kids if they've got them, or the dining table for when we need to do that. So just making sure that we talk to our people about setting some boundaries. For example, avoiding sending out lots of after-hour emails, expecting that it's urgent. And if that's so, making it very much an exception rather than the norm helps our people have much better work-life balance. And one of the things we want to do is we want to talk about that in our team meetings, whether they're online or whether they're face-to-face. We want to talk to our people about them setting boundaries. And if we forget to do that as leaders and founders, that they are able to do that and manage us and also manage the people around them to be able to do that. The next thing I want to talk about is encouraging breaks and having time off and holidays. I have talked to so many people, and this podcast will be released, literally 10 days before Christmas. And I'm speaking to so many people at the moment, particularly in my coaching clients, where they don't even taking any breaks for lunches. And so it's really important to be able to take that. It's really important to be able to schedule some leave in, whether it's an extra long weekend by tacking on one extra day on a Friday or a Monday, and just not having that time where you're connected all the time. We all need some time to disconnect so that we can recharge and we can return to work with some renewed energy and some renewed focus. So making sure that people do that. And for people that are not doing it very well, one of the things I say to them is schedule it like a meeting. Put in a minimum of 30 to 45 hours, for 45 minutes, every day into your diary where you've got a break. And there's a lot of research that's around now that speaks about that sitting is the new smoking. So when we are just sitting there and not getting things done, it causes a lot of issues. The next thing I want to talk about, time management. Again, time management and productivity is something we have spoken about for a long time, but how does that help with our well-being and our work-life balance for our people? Well, it's really important whether you're using an app, whether you're using some sort of a system in your business, making sure that people prioritize their time efficiently. One of the best models that I use daily is by Eisenhower. Eisenhower has a 2x2 matrix, and it basically has importance on one axis, doesn't matter which way you do that, and the other axis is urgent. So sometimes things are, need to be done urgently, but they're not as important. And sometimes they're really important, but they're not urgent, and we shouldn't assume so. And I then list down all my tasks. Let's say I've got 21 things to do, which is today's as I'm recording this podcast. I then on a daily basis will then work out what's urgent and important first and attack those things better. And that is a really simple technique and a simple model that I use on a daily basis. The other thing that's really important is, depending on the size of your business, you may have some EAP or employment assistance programs. It's a really great thing as a leader and a founder of a business to constantly promote your EAP. Now, they may be people that are external, usually to your organisation. And if you don't have one, you might want to have a look at that. Giving people a number of free sessions available with a psychologist or a psychiatrist is a great way of offering your people to have better work-life balance. And they can help with counselling, they can give them resources, they can really help navigate some of the people in your business through the challenges that they might be facing, whether that's in the workforce or whether that's personally as well. Many small to medium businesses also go through and develop wellness programs. The wellness programs are great, and a lot of the focus has moved just from physical, but also to mental health. Mental health is going to continue to be a bigger space as leaders and founders, and we need to include things like, you might have some walks that you might do, you might have some counsel, you might have some meditation sessions, or even just sessions that are actually dedicated to mental health resources. Because the more healthier our people are, the more productive they are, the more engaged they are, and the more we are helping towards their work-life balance. The next term I want to talk about is, as a leader and founder, it's so important that you lead by example. Your people are watching you. So if you talk about work-life balance and some of the things that the organisation and the business is doing great, but if you don't do it yourself, they're unlikely to follow it. So make sure you share with them how you deal with things, what you do to create that, and be able to do that. And just constantly talk to your people and get some regular feedback on their workload, their stress levels, how they're managing it, what other support that they might need. I hope that one or two of these tips today was useful or enhances some of the work that you're doing around helping your people manage their work-life balance. I always appreciate you tuning into this podcast. I know that your time could be divided up anywhere, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in. If you want to take a moment to review this podcast on Apple, that would be amazing. Any suggestions for topics, particularly around small to medium businesses and helping you grow your business, which is my expertise, always welcome to be able to hear that. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Shivani Gupta, and you've been listening to the Grow Your Business podcast. I hope you got one idea that you can think about or perhaps even implement straight away in your business. Thank you for listening. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn under Ask Shivani. Remember, I call it Ask Shivani, so please send me your questions that I can address in this podcast for you. And I would also so appreciate if you went to the Apple Podcast to rate and review this podcast.